From ancient dinosaurs to mysterious alien structures, Antarctica holds more secrets than we can imagine. Today on Top Facts, we travel into the very heart of the icy continent to reveal the most incredible and shocking facts you have never heard of. From sunken ships to hidden rivers beneath the ice. Enjoy watching. In a remote area of Antarctica, about 50 miles from the coast, what is believed to be the remains of a prehistoric beast was discovered, a fossilized skeleton of an unknown ancient creature. The remains, measuring from 3 to 6 meters, were frozen for thousands of years. Now we know that Antarctica was not always an icy continent. During the Cretaceous period, this land was ice-free, and forests grew at both of Earth's poles. So we can confidently speak about the presence of dinosaurs in Antarctica. Many fossils have been found on this continent. These discoveries suggest that dinosaurs once thrived in this region, possibly back when today's Antarctica had not yet separated from the lower part of the supercontinent Pangaea, called Gondwana. Antarctica is known as a frozen wasteland, where survival is difficult unless you are a penguin. But one of the strangest things proven by research informs us that tropical forests once flourished here. In fact, scientists found an entire network of roots, traces of pollen, and other evidence of their existence near Pine Island Glacier. This soil points to the remains of an ancient world where the average temperature was slightly above 12 degrees Celsius and in summer climbed to about 18 degrees Celsius. It is reliably known that Antarctica was not always covered with snow and ice. Scientists have determined that about 90 million years ago, the climate in this area was suitable for life, so dinosaurs roamed abundantly through Antarctica's tropical forests. And who knows what other prehistoric creatures could have existed here? In 2011, a mysterious fossil was discovered in Antarctica that resembled a deflated soccer ball. After many years of study and analysis, scientists determined that the fossil was a giant egg, approximately 66 million years old. Its dimensions of about 27 by 17 centimeters broke the record for the largest soft-shelled egg, and the find was recognized as the biggest egg of any animal ever discovered on the planet. It was also the first fossilized egg found in Antarctica. For those who do not already know, Antarctica is home to millions of penguins. Although they are funny and cute, they can also face trouble due to extreme weather conditions. Researchers often discover mummified penguins. However, it is important to understand whether the find is a fossil. One group of mummified penguins turned out to be very ancient. According to tests, that ancient colony was around 5,000 years old, and nowadays, penguins no longer nest in that area. According to the latest research and findings, evidence has emerged that the first people to see Antarctica were the indigenous people of New Zealand. This challenges the previously accepted notion that Europeans were the first. The traditional story says that they discovered the icy continent in the early 19th century. However, new research combines oral narratives and the traditional evidence of the Maori people. To better understand their presence in Antarctica's history, let us turn to the sources. There are several accounts suggesting that Maori traveled from Polynesia to the southernmost continent as early as the 7th century. Oral stories in traditional folklore mention a Polynesian explorer as the first person to travel to Antarctica. These stories describe his encounters with icebergs and deep-sea creatures. Most likely these plots refer to the Antarctic landscape and fauna. The British ship Endurance, considered lost in 1915, was recently found in Antarctica sunken in the Weddell Sea at a depth of over 3 kilometers. The Antarctic explorer Sir Ernest Shackleton's ship was crushed by ice, and no one could locate it. Despite the fact that this 3-masted sailing vessel, one of 2 participants in the Imperial Transantarctic Expedition, spent more than a century underwater, it was preserved in remarkable condition. If you have ever seen the Wall in the fantasy series Game of Thrones, then you will understand my point. It is a wall hiding an entire world with other civilizations and icy zombies. It sounds just as frightening as it looks. Yes, Antarctica has its own ice wall, and what lies beyond it is quite mysterious. A terrifying conspiracy theory suggests that there is a hidden world, and this secret information is being concealed from the general public. According to the theory, Antarctica is not a continent at Earth's lower part, but a protective wall that surrounds a flat Earth. It is believed that no one is allowed to visit its limits, and that agents of a dark government ensure no one crosses beyond the ice wall. Satellite images from the National Aeronautics and Space Administration and other independent sources clearly show that Antarctica is not entirely barren. There are videos, such as the one here, where we can see structures resembling human creations. So there might be a grain of truth in this desperate theory. According to Darwin's theory of evolution, jellyfish appeared on Earth about 600 million years ago, long before humans or even dinosaurs. Given this, a strange discovery in Antarctica raises intriguing questions. A group of paleontologists discovered two strange fossilized human skeletons of very small size in the mountains. But the most astonishing aspect of these skeletons is their alleged age, 600 million years. The fossils were accidentally discovered by a group of American paleontologists who initially sought evidence of dinosaur existence in Antarctica. The finds amazed them not only with their unique shapes. The first skeleton was buried deep in layers of sedimentary rock and was less than 30 centimeters in size. It was perfectly preserved, and the second skeleton, unlike the first, lay in an extended position. Admittedly, there is plenty here to puzzle a large group of experts. A lot of strange things happen in Antarctica, but this 2014 discovery once again prompts us to think about extraterrestrial civilizations. If you compare an ordinary human skull to the one the archaeologist found, you will see that they are completely different. One theory proposes that the three skulls belong to extraterrestrials, but another explanation suggests that certain ancient civilizations performed unusual manipulations to elongate their skulls. Some time ago, mysterious satellite images from Antarctica showed a massive staircase leading into a snow-covered mountain. This strange sight triggered heated discussions among conspiracy theorists. Some suggested that the structure could be part of a pyramid. Others claimed these lines could be tracks left by unidentified flying objects, or unidentified flying objects spelled out. There were even those who believed the stairway was evidence of the legendary city of Atlantis, and that it might be located in Antarctica. A closer look reveals that beneath layers of ice, in accordance with a clear stepped pattern, there may indeed be some hidden structure. Antarctica is a very remote place from the rest of the world, yet even here researchers have discovered a complex network of tunnels. They say it was laid out in the ice near the Amundsen Scott Station at the South Pole. The station opened in 1956 as a research center that housed hundreds of employees, and when they discovered the network of tunnels, they did everything possible to investigate it. With temperatures around -51 degrees Celsius, this was not easy. At least one fact is certain: someone built the tunnels and used them for unknown purposes, though very little information about them is available. The oldest pyramid in the world might not be Egyptian at all. One of the most shocking revelations about the frozen continent was the discovery of a pyramid-shaped structure in satellite images near the Shackleton Range. This is on the northeastern slope of the Transantarctic Mountains. The pyramid has the same design and size as the Great Pyramid of Giza. The discovery of this giant Antarctic pyramid gave rise to a huge number of theories. Some claimed it was built by extraterrestrials or by other highly developed human civilizations. If scientists can prove this is an artificial construction, it would mean that the oldest pyramid in history is located in Antarctica. Thousands of years ago, the Greek philosopher Plato wrote a detailed description of the city of Atlantis, but no one believed him. Centuries later, people have tried repeatedly to find the ancient mythical city that supposedly sank, yet no one could even come close to solving the mystery. However, there is evidence that Atlantis was right beneath us all this time. It is believed that the lost city not only sank but also froze, and it still remains where it was, namely under Antarctica. Millions of years ago, Antarctica looked completely different, and for some strange reasons, people possessed information about this even in times before satellites or radiocarbon analysis. For example, in the early 16th century, the Turkish admiral Piri Reis drew a map that clearly showed Antarctica's coastline centuries before the continent's official discovery. Recall that humans officially arrived here in the early 19th century. The McMurdo Station is located on the southern peninsula of Ross Island. It is the largest station in Antarctica. It was originally established by the government of the United States in 1956, and since then it has served as a center for scientific research and can simultaneously accommodate up to 1,200 residents. In January of 2015, an intriguing revelation occurred. A former United States Navy flight engineer who had served at McMurdo for 14 years shared remarkable stories of his time in Antarctica from 1983 until his retirement in 1997. He took part in several Antarctic Squadron expeditions, which included rescuing people in various locations, and during those missions, nothing unusual happened. Everything was routine until one fine day when the entire crew saw strange silvery circular objects in the Transantarctic Mountains. They moved in sync from one mountain peak to another, then soared at incredible speed straight up and disappeared in a flash. The most amazing thing is that this unusual event happened not just once, but was observed multiple times. Logically, a sparsely populated, deserted continent is the perfect place for unidentified flying objects, is it not? In 2012, scientists spotted through satellite a strange oval formation in Antarctica's ice. They took it for an extraterrestrial structure. Indeed, it appears like a coherent assembly of compartments. How could something like this be designed in the center of Antarctica? It is difficult to answer that question, and therefore most people lean toward its extraterrestrial origin. What if I told you that Antarctica might contain evidence of life on Mars? Indeed, many years ago, National Aeronautics and Space Administration researchers discovered a meteorite known as Allen Hills 84001, named after the place where it was found. The researchers determined that it formed on Mars about 4 billion years ago and landed on Earth about 13,000 years ago. It was discovered in 1984 and weighed about 1 93/100 kilograms, making it quite intriguing in its own right. But in 1996, this object became a wonder to a group of scientists when they discovered microscopic fossils of ancient bacteria in its rock. Although there are disputes on this subject, it is believed these organisms came from Mars. Perhaps this is proof of life on the red planet. Who knows? Maybe life indeed originated on Mars rather than on Earth. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Did you know that nearly 2/3 of all meteorites found on Earth arrive in Antarctica? The continent's cold climate helps preserve these extraterrestrial rocks, and the dark coloration of meteorites stands out against the white ice sheets. The movement of ice in Antarctica acts like a conveyor belt. It concentrates meteorites in specific areas. In 2023, during a research expedition, scientists discovered a meteorite of nearly 8 kilograms in the shape of a fin. It was noteworthy not only for its size, but also for its valuable information about our solar system. Antarctica is the perfect place to hunt for meteorites. Its dry climate prevents weathering, preserving the space rocks. During their expedition, the team collected more than 45,000 meteorites, but only about 100 of them were as large as this one. Deception Island is situated at the northwestern edge of the Antarctic Peninsula in the South Shetland Islands. Its geological features are unique, and its history is intriguing. It is one of 2 active volcanoes in Antarctica, having experienced more than 20 eruptions over the past 2 centuries. The island's horseshoe shape is the result of a powerful volcanic eruption that occurred over 10,000 years ago. Deception Island became a site of intense human activity. It served as a British military outpost during the Second World War and was once a busy station for seal observation. The island also witnessed the rise and fall of various projects, from research stations to scientific expeditions. In 1969, the British base was destroyed and abandoned, and from that time onward, the island fell on hard days. Although its volcanic activity is well documented, there have also been reports of regularly occurring unexplained phenomena. Thanks to these accounts, the island has gained a reputation as one of the most popular places in Antarctica to observe strange events, specifically the presence of ghosts. Robert Scott's Hut is a historic building on the north shore of Cape Evans on Ross Island in Antarctica. It was built in only 9 days in 1911 by the British Antarctic Expedition of 1910 to 1913, also known as the Terra Nova Expedition. The hut was pre-assembled in London before being shipped to Antarctica, and it housed 25 members of the party as a base. But tragically, during the ill-fated expedition, Robert Scott and his companions perished on the return trip from the South Pole, about 260 kilometers from their base camp. They were carrying the first Antarctic fossils ever found, which were identified as evidence that Antarctica was once covered by forests. William Morris is undoubtedly the most famous and influential geomorphologist who wrote many interesting works about Antarctica. His most important piece is The Navigator Who Crossed the Icy Walls of the World Beyond Antarctica. In this account, he describes the experience of an explorer who decided to sail the waters around the southern polar circle and went beyond the ice walls. Allegedly, there he encountered another civilization. Do you believe this story? Similar hypotheses have already appeared in today's features. I can hardly think of a better natural refrigerator than polar ice. Discovering old food items is fairly rare, but a 100-year-old fruitcake found in Antarctica deserves special mention. It was discovered in the continent's oldest building at Cape Adare, in the eastern part of the continent. It is believed to have been brought by the British explorer Robert Falcon Scott during his Terra Nova expedition from 1910 to 1913. This cake was produced by a well-known British biscuit company, wrapped in paper and placed in a tin container. The extreme cold contributed to the excellent preservation of the fruit ingredients, and the cake proved to be quite edible. The fact is, Antarctica's climate often causes people to crave fatty and sweet foods, and fruitcake, dense and filling, is the perfect option. Did you know that certain ancient dynasties and wealthy families own private islands where they are legally free to do whatever they want? And what if we tell you that one of these islands is in Antarctica? Rothschild Island in Antarctica was named by Jean-Baptiste Charcot, the leader of a French Antarctic expedition after the famous banking dynasty. These rocks are also home to emperor penguins, and the Rothschild family, specifically Baron Jacob Rothschild, owns, among other places, an entire colony on the Cook Islands connected to offshore financial dealings. Secret documents obtained by international journalists in 2013 revealed the creation of a network of terrestrial trusts and shell companies. Perhaps it is profitable to do business with an address in Antarctica. We simply do not know all the details of the business world. If you know their cunning plan, let me know in the comments. At the height of their power, the Nazis did everything possible to establish global domination. So they sought out any technologies they could, including turning to the knowledge of ancient civilizations. This legendary secret Hitler base, 211 New Berlin, was supposedly established in Antarctica in the territory of New Swabia, where the Nazis allegedly founded the Fourth Reich and hid relics, including the Holy Grail. Some accounts claim that the base really existed, while others say it is just a legend. Supposedly, the base is hidden in the folds of an ice-free mountain range where there are grassy fields and hot springs. Many assume the base is mere cover, although there are hypotheses suggesting that Hitler himself fled there after the war. We know Antarctica has an enormous amount of ice, but when researchers saw this iceberg, they thought they were dealing with something supernatural. It was discovered in 2018 and took the shape of a perfect rectangle with smooth walls and sharp right angles. This iceberg can be seen on the eastern coast near the Larsen Ice Shelf, where it drifts in the water. Could something supernatural be happening here? Another incredible incident in Antarctica occurred in May of 2021, a crack in the ice shelf. The world's largest iceberg, designated A76, measuring about 170 kilometers long and 25 kilometers wide, broke off from the western part of the Ronne Ice Shelf in Antarctica and is now adrift in the Weddell Sea. On the mysterious Greenwich Island, part of the South Shetland Islands archipelago, a strange and unexplained discovery was made. In 2007, observers noticed a mysterious cave on Google Maps, which disappeared 6 months later. This unexpected event sparked various theories, from the idea of an entrance to Earth's interior to speculation about a military conspiracy. The cave had imposing dimensions, about 25 meters tall and 75 meters wide, suggesting it might hold hundreds, if not thousands of people. But did this hidden cave really serve as an access point to an unknown world beneath the surface? Or could it have formed naturally, like an avalanche revealing an ancient underground chamber? Another hypothesis is that it was the result of climate change, suggesting that the gradual melting of ice is exposing secret caves. Near the cave, an unusual structure was also discovered, resembling a grotto reached by man-made steps. It seems that human involvement was indeed present here. In 2017, a giant hole appeared in the Antarctic ice, known as a polynya. It emerged in the Lazarev Sea and initially covered an area of about 10,000 square kilometers. A polynya is a thawed patch of water surrounded by ice, and in this case, it was a large region of unfrozen ocean circled by ice. This polynya was first recorded in 1974, but had not reappeared until then. Scientists were intrigued by its formation and persistence. They sought to understand why it formed and how long it might last. In the winters of 2016 and 2017, the polynya emerged and remained for several weeks longer than usual. It is thought that it arose from a combination of factors, including strong coastal winds that push the ice in different directions. You see a series of black holes in the ice that resemble holes in cheese. Where do they come from? If there is dust within the ice, it can create so-called cryoconite holes. They form when the wind carries dust particles into the ice. Each summer, they absorb sunlight and melt deeper into the ice. In reality, these are accumulations of dark debris, cryoconite, and by the principle of a black hole, it absorbs light and forms a dark layer at the bottom of the hole. Cryoconite can consist of dust, soot, and other particles, and the holes range in diameter from a few centimeters to several meters. They often fill with water, creating tiny ecosystems that support microbial life. Bacteria, fungi, algae, and invertebrates thrive there. In winter, an icy cap can form above them, trapping a small amount of liquid water. But when summer returns, the cap melts, and the colony grows further. We know that the deepest point on Earth is the Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean, whose bottom lies about 11 kilometers below sea level. However, in Antarctica, they discovered the deepest point on a continental landmass, located in the east under Denman Glacier. This giant glacier spans about 12 kilometers wide and lies roughly 3.5 kilometers below sea level, and there researchers found a strange opening filled with ice. Despite countless attempts, nobody has been able to determine what is beneath it. Each time scientists flew over that opening, it evaded their radar. The most frustrating part is that Denman Glacier might hold all the answers we need to explain the effect of rising sea levels. Lake Vostok is one of Antarctica's largest lakes, and recently Russian scientists discovered a creature hidden in its depths. It is a giant animal resembling a squid with 14 tentacles. It is theorized to be about 10 meters long and can also release toxins into the water. Quite a creepy find, do you not think? Thwaites Glacier, also known as the Doomsday Glacier, is a disturbing natural wonder. This huge glacier in West Antarctica is melting faster than previously thought, and the consequences could be catastrophic. It could easily raise global sea levels. The primary reason is the presence of warm ocean water lurking a few kilometers below the surface. This glacier is one of the largest on the continent, but also among the most vulnerable. Since the 1980s, it has been melting rapidly, leading to the loss of hundreds of billions of tons of ice, contributing about 4% to global sea level rise, which is an enormous figure. However, recent studies have shown that warm, high-pressure seawater has reached the glacier's base, making the risk of melting even more serious. The Doomsday Glacier acts like a natural dam that holds back other ice sheets in West Antarctica. If it collapses, it could destabilize neighboring ice sheets, causing even greater sea level rise. Its ominous nickname is no accident. It truly has fateful significance for the planet, including faraway places like Florida and the Maldives. This river, about 460 kilometers long, gathers water at the base of the Antarctic ice sheet from an area the size of Germany and France combined. But let us go back a bit. A significant discovery revealed a river underneath the Antarctic ice sheet. It strongly affects ice flow and melting, which could speed up ice loss as the climate warms. The find was made possible by airborne radar and hydrological models, shedding new light on a previously unknown river system beneath the ice. The existence of this river challenges earlier assumptions that there was relatively little water at the base of Antarctic ice sheets. New research shows that the area where the East and West Antarctic ice sheets meet is almost inaccessible and poorly studied, and the river, which melts ice as it flows into the sea, undermines the ice shelves more quickly than we think, especially in light of current climate change. So now we know that rivers also flow beneath the ice. There are many different ecosystems on our planet, but a new one was recently discovered in the depths of the Antarctic Ocean. It has been named the Sponge Garden. These huge colonies, located around the peaks of extinct volcanoes, include organisms that look like oyster mushrooms, and they are one of the primary forms of life in that area. They are truly magnificent to behold. Would you like to see a real monster that has been hiding under the ice for centuries? Presenting the arthropod discovered in Antarctica called the flat-headed monster. This creepy creature was found by a student from the University of Manitoba in Canada. The student did not intentionally look for it, but stumbled upon a new animal during an expedition. The monster has 8 bristly legs, which it uses to paddle its nearly transparent body through the water. Altogether, it is quite strange why it has not been spotted elsewhere on Earth. If you do not like worms, you will be shocked to see this one. The Antarctic scale worm is the stuff of nightmares. A creepy creature about 20 centimeters long with a pure gold shell on its back that lives in the Southern Ocean off the coast of Antarctica at depths of over 500 meters. So do not worry, you will hardly ever meet it in real life. Antarctica is undoubtedly a unique place, home to fewer animal species, seals, penguins, and orcas, for instance. But did you know that transparent fish have been found there? This completely new fish species was discovered by a film crew working on a documentary called Antarctic Expedition. The semi-translucent fish has come to be known as the Antarctic blackfin icefish. It has a unique body that seems silicone-like, and the reason for that appearance is the absence of red blood cells containing hemoglobin. It is the only vertebrate without them, which means it does not absorb oxygen in the usual way, and the fish's body appears semi-translucent. A poor Arctic fox got stuck on a melting, drifting iceberg. It was stuck on a platform several meters away from any solid surface. Fortunately, people on a boat saw it and decided to help. They approached the iceberg and took the fox to a safe place on board. Of course, catching the animal was not easy, but everyone understood it was the only chance of rescue. So you do not forget the difference between the poles, I remind you. The northern one is home to polar bears, while the southern one is the domain of penguins, and they are quite adorable. Although polar bears are considered the most dangerous predators in the Arctic, there is something that turns them into loyal friends. One bear keeps coming back to visit a female filmmaker named Karen. She once rescued a cub abandoned by its mother. Since then, the polar bear has befriended Karen. Here we see the charming fellow named Peanut chasing her drone. That concludes our episode. If you enjoyed it and want to see the next part or something similar, let me know in the comments, give a like, subscribe to Top Facts for the most incredible selections of facts and videos from all over the internet. Thank you for watching, and check out the 2 previous top episodes.